Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Town of Pownell Special Select Board meeting for town office discussion. June 1st, 2022, 6 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Board member roll call, Mike Gardner.
Angie Rawling.
Jamie Percy.
Bob Jarvis.
Hey, Bob.
Hi, Bob.
Hey.
Approval of the agenda, town hall update, budget and overall project discussion, public comment, and adjourn.
So moved.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. So before we get started into the town hall update, excuse me. I want to make a couple of statements about the project. This is a meeting for an update on the condition of the project, where we're at, what's going on. It's a budget meeting we have a really well-prepared budget in front of us for the project. I'm not going to allow a argumentative state to happen in this meeting. What has happened, and we can't turn back at this point. So this is a move forward project. So we're not going to get into a he said, she said part of this. This is an informational meeting, an update for the residents and taxpayers of the town of Pownell. And hopefully we can go from there. And like I said, if it gets to an argumentative state, we will stop right at that point and not continue. I will also, there are several people here in the room. So when we come to public comment, the people that are attending the meeting will have their first chance at public comment. If you're taking your time to come here, you're going to speak first. And I will like to try to limit it to 3 minutes. And if we have time, we'll come back onto some public comment. Okay, I'm not sure how many people are going to be in here, but
A few out.
yeah, there's a few. So at that point, I'm going to turn this over to Tara, our executive assistant, who has prepared this project, our updates and our budget.
Okay, so you want to start with budget or updates?
Let's go with the updates first, I think, and then we'll come to the budget.
Okay, so currently with the schoolhouse, as many of you probably noticed, has been wrapped. It's wrapped in house wrap, so it should protect the building and anything that's left inside of it. Most of the site work has been done here at 511 Center Street. All the prep work for the parking lots, the lights, most of that stuff has been completed or will be within the next week. The tree work has been completed, only the stumps are left to be removed. The underground propane tank was installed. The concrete work on the schoolhouse basement, sound tubes, the generator pad, all of that should be started within the next couple of weeks. The old schoolhouse will be moved June 21st. That's the biggest part of this update. Most important part.
I kept it, yes.
I have a question on that, Tara. Maybe this is a question for Eric, or maybe you can answer. Is that weather permitting on the 21st, Eric, or don't we know?
I don't believe so.
Okay, just curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
Should be probably
So I
right.
think that's just so everyone knows, that's rain or shine.
Yeah, and it,
Unless it's some major
Right.
Tornado or something.
Right, no, right. I totally get that. I just wanted to make sure.
there's a crane involved, so.
Okay,
and that should take one day, but possibly two if there's any hangups. So
Okay.
if, let's say something did happen, a storm or whatever, they have that second day already set aside.
okay.
The other thing with that is having all the utilities involved. If there was a major storm, they would be elsewhere fixing things.
Right.
You know, happened a couple days before too.
Sure.
They canceled.
Definitely. Fingers crossed they don't cancel. So once, before that move happens, probably by the end of the week, I'll be sending out notices to all of the Center Street residences as well as the North Pownell Road residences, because the roads will be closed for an amount of time. They'll also be without power. I'll post those letters online on our Facebook, town website, at all of the stores, and I'm gonna send the banner notice as well, so that a lot of people should be aware of what's happening.
Don't forget the fire departments and rescue squad. Police.
Good point, Jamie. The tin ceiling, the slate roof, and the hardwood flooring will remain within the schoolhouse after the move. The schoolhouse, once moved, will have new siding that matches the new town offices. The siding was ordered when the modular was purchased. The light fixtures were quoted by Kelson to match what is currently here. So there will be recessed lighting, and we will not be keeping the old light fixtures. The reasoning for that was because there was no real way to tell what we would need to refurbish them. It could be costly, and they would also not be energy efficient. After the schoolhouse has been moved, the town highway department will clean up the property at 2758 North Pownell Road and return it. They'll be removing the old foundation, filling the subsequent hole, and adding topsoil and grass seed. Last update is that the town highway department will also be covering the paving of the upper lot and the carriage barn driveway, which saves us some costs there. So there are some questions that the select board will need to decide on.
So let me stop right there for 1 second. Any of the board members, do you have any questions on the updates and information in that first section?
No?
Well, I just have one question because I live on Center Street. If it takes 2 days, does that mean we will be without power for 2 days?
No, I think the second day was, they would move the building all the way here on the first day. That's the hope. And then you should have power. The second day. It's just that 1 day.
All right.
Without power. Any other questions? Okay, so first decision to be made was the proposed changes to the parking lot plans and the sidewalks. You all should have the drawings with the suggested change on it. It's basically removing the sidewalk that goes all the way down the embankment over here. And an extra sidewalk out behind the building. And adding the stairway across here, up the bank.
So, right, just an update. I know, I think the board knows, but just so people are aware of what those changes are. I met with, Jeff Miller, Eric and I have discussed this a little bit. And we've looked into whether or not we need the sidewalk on the west end of the schoolhouse and coming down that bank. And some other things down through there. Some of the sidewalk on the south side of the building itself. Okay, there was an extensive sidewalk along this side of the building. We've discussed deleting those because it's a significant amount of concrete. The other thing that we have made a decision on is the carriage barn road between here and the old town office and church is getting all new blacktop. So we are putting a set of stairs coming down the northerly bank of the new town office between the church and the new town office. We're gonna put a set of concrete stairs so that an influx and overflow of parking could park on Carriage Barn Road. And they could use those stairs instead of coming down a grass bank to get into the new town office. Just to be clear on that. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but.
Oh, that's fine.
Okay.
So that was one of the proposed changes. The other one was that there was a large sign that was supposed to face Route 7, as well as a tree that was supposed to go out on the corner of the town hall property. And we're basically proposing that we switch the two so that the tree has more space if there was a gathering or a tree lighting, there's more space over there on that side of the building. And be able to be seen from Route 7 a little easier. Mm-hmm. Also, having a sign out there might encourage people to use that drive that isn't really supposed to be used as an entrance. So if it's over here with a nice garden planted, I think it's a nice entrance for the new town hall once everything is all set. So I think we need you to either approve that or not.
What is the board's pleasure? Do you want to vote on that approval of those changes or just go with them at this point? There's not a significant cost in what we're doing.
No.
The tree versus the sign location,
Yeah.
that's location, right.
Right, it's not money.
So to be clear on the tree, just so everyone knows, and I know Joyce, you have a vested interest in this, so that's why I want to be clear on this. The old spruce tree that we, used in the past for our lights and Christmas lights, was a disease tree. That's from our town tree board, and that's from Dave Dent's. So that's why we removed the tree. But in that plan, kind of my plan, to speak honestly, I want to plant a more manageable tree, 14, 16 footer. I mean, I don't want to go with an 8-foot tree to start with. I'd like to get a sizable tree. Dave and I talked about it and plant that tree to still have that Christmas lighting so that we can continue that tradition, because I think it is a very important piece. So just so everybody's clear on what that was totally about. One other thing on the tree work, is Joel has a tree out here on the end of Carriage Barn Road that is overhanging and needs to be taken down. Professionally, we can't do it with our road crew. In the same line, when they take that down, all of those trees, when you come down Barber Pond Road and can no longer look west.
Right.
We're gonna take those trees as well. It's a bunch of scrub trees that are really worth nothing. Bunch of river ash and poplar and whatever else.
By the markers you're talking about.
Yeah, right at the end of Carriage Barn Road, at the end of the Carriage Barn, there's a significant number of trees right there that have just grown over the years. And we're gonna take those trees down so that people traveling up and down, you don't have that diminished view anymore. And we're gonna take them down at the same time.
Okay, so
If the board's fine with not making any, making a motion on these changes, I'm fine with it. But if the board wants to make a motion and either approve or deny, that's fine with me too.
I don't think we need one. I
I
think
didn't
it's
think.
fine.
it-
No, I don't think so, but I mean, okay, I'm good with it.
But, I mean, they're reasonable requests, so I don't have a problem with them. Robert?
I agree. I don't think we need to, I don't think we voted for it the way it used to be either. So I don't think we need to vote here. It's just a decision we're making.
I guess it was just in the original plan, Bob, and we're making a change to the original plan, but it's a cost saving measure, to be perfectly honest with you, on the concrete portion of it for sure. Eric?
You might want to mention the parking lot change down there as well. It's not at the sidewalk.
Okay,
right,
that's
it's the back lot.
good point. So, with the location, in that same meeting, when I was here with, Jeff Miller, who's finishing up the, final grading and stuff, we had the discussion of, a lot of it revolved around winter maintenance. The light pole location in the southernmost parking lot, we moved the southernmost parking lot boundary. We moved it north a little bit and we lost some parking space in that lower parking lot. But other than that, we were gonna have to try to plow around light poles. So now it's a straight shot to plow. And I don't think, by the time we add the parking on Carriage Barn Road with the blacktop up there and the stairs coming down, it's the same access whether you're coming up the hill or coming down the hill.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we didn't really lose any parking area.
Still
We
have a
just-
parking area down there, it's just not,
It's not as large on
We
the
lose in
lower
three.
side.
Yeah, 3 places maybe.
No, I think we lost like 9.
Oh, the backside, okay.
Yeah, so we lost,
All right.
we may have lost 11 parking spaces,
Packet changes?
No, I just,
but, I don't think that's a significant amount. We still have plenty of parking down there on that lower level.
yeah, no, I just didn't want to eliminate that parking thing.
Yeah, no, we're not eliminating any of it. It's just that one part of it.
Yeah.
It also actually makes things easier to grade to the tennis courts and so on and so forth.
Right.
You know, once again, a lot of it is a cost saving measure.
Right.
Because, you know, the grading portion of it, it's a little more entailed. It's more blacktop when we get to that point. It's kind of a cost savings too.
No, I just,
Right.
as far as, didn't want to eliminate it, because then we'd have to go back to fire safety because of fire protection on the building and all that stuff.
Right. No, we're good with that.
We're just taking a piece off, so.
That's right.
Next decision is the AC in the schoolhouse part of the building. There are two options here. The 9,900 one would be units on the wall, either at the top or bottom, like wall mounted
The
units.
mini splits.
Yeah, so, and the $12,000 one would be like it is here in the ceiling units.
Now, the mini splits, they're heat pumps, correct? Not just AC units? Okay,
So they'll do heat and AC.
right,
Ceiling ones will also just.
Yes.
They'll be up in the attic
right.
instead of on the wall or. It's the same system.
Mm-hmm. I just wanted people to understand that it's both, it's not just AC, that's all.
Right, right, heat pumps, yep.
And there's a $2,200 difference between the two. I guess that's probably a board, that would be a board vote on which way we want to go with the AC. We should vote on that.
So my question would be, I know that we're gonna have to maintain, so they're not gonna be using it like we do here every single day. I mean, yes, you'd have to keep it at a reasonable temperature, correct? Like 50 or 60 when they're not in use.
Well, that room will have its own,
It will have a thermometer.
correct, it's not gonna be attached to this bill.
Right.
It's gonna be,
It'll be its own entity, so to speak,
Right.
and that's why we're putting those in there. So we can control it, absolutely. I mean, you know, when it's not being used for 3 or 4 days,
Right, that's
we
what I'm saying.
we don't have to keep it at 72, but when we want to have a meeting,
Right,
we can keep it at 40,
okay.
keep you
I
happy.
don't know if you can get it, you plan on getting a smart thermometer for that too?
There's also baseboard, heat in there as well.
Okay,
So it's not just
all right.
It's not just the wall units.
hot water baseboard in there too.
And how will it work with the basement?
Yeah, I was gonna ask, what's the plan for heating and cooling the basement for,
The same, it'll be hot water baseboard.
Okay.
Upstairs and down.
Okay.
Then it would be one unit upstairs and one down for heat.
okay,
So is just aesthetically, the difference is two of those Mitsubishi type air conditioners attached to the wall somewhere across from each other, I imagine, or something that's somewhat hidden, and we would pipe the cool air into vents coming out of the ceiling. Is that correct?
Correct. But the air handler would be up in the attic. The only downfall of that is condensation. You have to get out, so if something happened, you could have a leak.
for that maintenance, the whole total maintenance of the thing is gonna be indifferent.
The potential for
Right.
something to happen, the air handlers in the attic
Right.
is greater than
Mhm.
the wall unit, just,
Right,
you know, the
you have the
condensation
outside.
pump right out.
Mhm.
But then with the wall units, I guess if they ever quit or we had issues with them or they just got old, you could just take them down. I'm trying to think. I mean, it's an historic part of the building. I believe we're going to have the floor. We're going to have the ceiling looking like the old schoolhouse. And I don't know. It doesn't seem nice to me to have the two wall units, but at the same time, if there's a condensation issue, I didn't realize that for the one unit. I don't know. I thought I was leaning towards the one unit, even though it was a little more expensive. But now after what I just heard, I'm not sure what I'm leaning toward.
As far as maintenance and all that goes, it's easier to maintain a mini split system versus a attic system.
Yeah.
And also, if you do have to replace a condenser or something like that, that's a lot easier, so it's less labor intensive in the long run.
Eric.
Right, and they look just like the 1800, in the 1800s, they had those Mitsubishi units, right?
Right, yeah, I mean, depends on where you want it.
And you could build we've done that. before.
A console for it.
Cover over it.
Yep.
Doesn't have to be the ones that hang on.
Yeah, so
Okay, did you
I
hear
don't have.
that? Did you hear that, Bob?
I did.
Okay.
That's reassuring. I don't have a strong opinion. I guess there's pros and cons to both.
Well, so playing devil's advocate, I could argue your point because, and I was kind of caught in between myself on this, but once we put the baseboard hot water heat in there, we've lost the historic versus having a cast iron,
Oh, steam.
an old, cast iron radiator in there too, so. Not, just throwing that out there as well, just to argue the point a little bit, but, so what's the board's pleasure?
I would
My-
think for maintenance and for cost, probably the dual units. That's what I'm hearing recommended by those in the know.
My experience working on them, I know the mini splits are much more user friendly.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we go with the two Mitsubishi head units, but heat pumps.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Bob, Mike, aye.
Okay, on to your next decision. You have 3 ways to decide the windows. The first option being Marvin double hung fiberglass exterior, cottage style and unequal sashes at 14,400. The second is a Paradigm all vinyl interior, exterior double hung, non-cottage style, equal sashes. Oh, I can't talk today. 5,240. And the last option is to rebuild the existing windows. The spiral balances is optional. And there actually are no jam counterweights to remove. But we would have to buy Marvin Storm, wood storm windows, and there's more upkeep and maintenance with the storms. If we go that route, we could go that route for 4,000, not including fixing the glass that is broken.
How many windows are we talking? 4?
No.
No, it would be all the windows.
Right, a couple of them come out,
Yeah.
but they could be reused on the south side. There are no proposed windows.
Right.
There used to be in the building, there's,
That is next to Joyce. Someone's waving their hand. Next to Joyce.
This one?
Yeah.
so right now, there's no proposed windows on the south side. So you want to keep that. And we're 2 openings, you find, probably original. Well, we are taking out 1 window in the entry. Because there's gonna be an egress door. Then on the west side, there's a double window one's gonna be taken out for a door too, so. Extra doors, extra window that we use on the south side, if you want windows facing south.
Right. We could add a couple of windows on that south side if we wanted to after the move, if we decided that.
Right, because you're removing, if you keep the original windows, you're removing 2 of them. And they can be used.
Okay. And that's in that $14,400 price
For,
for the
that's the new windows.
right, but that's counting if we took those 2 windows or not. Okay, so if we put windows on the south side, it would be additional to the 14,400 or any of these numbers actually, right?
Correct.
Except for the 4,000 one, because that one's the original window,
No, we
right?
weren't including, we were taking out those two windows.
Okay, so no matter what, if we added windows on the south side of the building, there's an additional cost. I just want everybody to know that.
Right.
I thought that's what we had talked about, but I wanted to make sure, Eric, that's all.
Is there a different R value between the two types of the Marvins, or the Marvin and the Paradigm?
I don't believe that there is, I can double check on that.
I was just curious if one's
They're
triple
both a
pane, double pane.
They're not a triple pane.
Okay.
So I'm gonna deviate a little bit from my original, because Joyce had her hand up on the windows.
Well, I'm gonna.
Joyce held, just so everyone knows who's speaking, that's all.
I'm Joyce. When you speak about the windows, facing north, they're the five large windows. That of course is part of the historic building fabric. We did investigate, you can actually put indoor storms windows. It covers them from inside. So from the outside, you still see the historic windows, but you get protection from drafts or anything on the inside, so you wouldn't lose that look. We did a lot of research on how we could do it, and I know you talked about, and I don't mean to interrupt your meeting,
No,
but you.
I gave you leeway to talk, so you're good.
But anyway, the lights.
I'm sorry, Joyce, can you come up, Rebecca? Someone just said that they can't really hear you on.
Oh, they can't hear me.
Zoom.
That's the first time I've ever been told that nobody could hear me.
Thank you.
No problem. With the windows, we had investigated on putting indoor storm windows on it that would encase those windows, okay? And so you would get, the insulation, but you would still have the look when you come down Center Street, you'd see, the building and the old windows. As far as the lights goes, yes, the lights and the wiring, I understand what you were saying, but they make old schoolhouse lights that are efficient, probably can even get LED. This is what, I think I sent you pictures of this. This is what a town did in Vermont. They took an old schoolhouse and turned it into a community center. So you can see that it's feasible to get that look and still have nice bright lights, okay? So, and of course you can see on this side, they kept their big windows.
So I met with, Eric and, a representative from RK at the schoolhouse. We were in the building when we talked about windows. So the Marvin double hung windows they're here for 14,000, and this is for the board as well, okay? Those are basically an exact match to what's in there now. It's the same look. It's the same, whatever they are, I don't remember, there's grids in the top. Yeah, the unequal sashes, but there's grids in the top, the sashes aren't the same size. And they're clear, clear, no sash on the bottom. Right, Eric, and I'm right.
Unequal sash.
Yeah, so it's the exact same look. Just so that we're all clear on that, as what we have now, just a energy efficient window versus what's in there now. And they're maintenance free. Eric?
Also, the third option there for the storms, those are interior storms. Like
They're
you're talking,
interior?
interior storms with the unequal sash to match the existing windows.
Windows.
So you won't have grills in different spots.
Right.
So that's option 3 is exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
But
They would be.
But it doesn't give you any,
But they would be energy efficient, because this option is not energy efficient, but if you have
The
storms.
storm really
or
is.
not really, and then, no, there's no R value. The only R value is the airspace in between, which is about an R1 for airspace. It's not a double pane, it's just just an airspace.
It's an air gap, yeah.
I mean, it will cut down on drafts and obviously it's better than what's there now. Yes.
So does the board have any questions or comments on windows? That's where we're at.
If the Marvins are look-alike, I mean, we're working on more efficient building and all that stuff. And if we can keep the aesthetics as similar as possible, I think that's a win situation for us. I mean, it's a little more money, but in the long run, it's gonna save us on our fuel and everything else, so.
I just have one question, Eric. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but the third option, the upkeep of the painting of the storm windows inside and out, would that be a yearly thing?
Probably not inside, but possibly outside, you know, you wanna keep on top of them.
Yeah.
So they don't deteriorate and rot, and it might not be every year, it might be every couple of years, you know.
Okay.
If we keep the original windows that are there now, there is definitely upkeep on the outside of those windows. And that probably is I would say, because of the nature of the beast and they're old and they have 250 coats of paint on them and whatever else, it's probably an every 2 year, maybe 3 years, I don't know. Because they're gonna get on the northern side of the building like that, they're gonna get some pretty heavy duty exposure.
Yep.
And weather. So, Jamie?
One other thing, in my experience, I mean, and you may know more than me because you're more
Maybe not, well,
you do this every day. The interior storms, a lot of times end up with condensation issues.
you will get stuff
And-
in between both.
And, versus with an exterior storm, traditionally there's weep holes, so that condensation weeps out, where with the interior ones, you really can't do that. And then you end up with sill issues and that kind of stuff.
Right, you'll get that even on
Right.
new window.
Right.
So, yeah.
But if you put an interior storm with a new,
So at this point, I would like to rule out option 2. Because we haven't discussed that at all. Option 2, I don't think is the option to go with because we lose the aesthetics of exactly what Joyce is talking about with the schoolhouse look. So I'd like to rule out option 2 right off the bat, and then we can discuss option 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 in depth more, or we can go with it. Anybody opposed to ruling out option 2?
no, I'm okay with that. I mean, I know where I'm leaning just from a maintenance standpoint and
Well,
taking care of buildings for 32 years, so.
we can move forward whenever somebody wants to make a motion, I guess, is how we can go. And then we can discuss it more.
If other people,
We need to.
I make a motion to go with option 1, since it does still stay with the aesthetics of the historic windows that are in the facility at the time. And I think it'll be a lot less maintenance in the long run. And we can discuss adding the other windows on the south side in the future, I guess.
Well, we could get a price on that and see if we want to do it for sure. That's not a big deal.
All right, I'll second.
Any more discussion, questions, comments?
I would just like to suggest that because of the nature of this, maybe we should open it up for public comment before we vote.
Okay. I'm fine with that, Bob.
Maybe nobody has anything to say.
No, that's good. That's a really good idea.
Can I also add, in the budget that you have in front of you, I use the 5,300 as the price for the windows, just to put something in there. So if
Okay.
you go with option 1, it's gonna bring the projected costs up $9,100,
Okay.
just so you're aware.
Okay. Thank you for that information, Tara, actually.
Yeah.
It's important.
I used the 53 because I figured that was between the two.
You're middle of the road, exactly. You're fine. You had to use something, right? Anybody in the room have a comment? Pauline,
Shall I go up there?
please.
Yes, please, it's easier to hear you.
Pauline Guntlow. The issue of having, why we didn't decide to put the windows on the south side was for the select board. We realized the openings had been their original, but we thought that if you were going to have large screens or do videos or whatever, it would cut down on the space. So that's just something to consider.
That's a good point.
That and the outside light also,
Yeah,
especially.
right. And the light coming from the south, if you have an early meeting, it could be, then you'd have to shade it and so forth.
That's a great point.
Yes.
All right. About the windows. The interior storms that we cost out and saw are made very, very well. It might be, those windows have been there for years and years. How long would they last? Would you have to repair them every 2 years? I doubt it if they're done well. It's something that you can think about. And if they lasted 10 years, well, how does that affect your budget now? Or if you decide to do it later? It does take away from the old look because it doesn't have the old glass. A lot of places use their old windows and are perfectly happy with them. I've used them before and I have not had condensation, but not every interior storm is created equal. And so that might be something to think about. I guess that's it.
Thank you, Pauline.
Thank you.
Anyone in the,
Oh, excuse me.
Sure.
I have one more thing.
absolutely.
Okay. Even if, about the lights, even if you have the interior lights, it does take away from the exterior, from the interior look of an old schoolhouse if you don't have the old light features. That was one of the kind of outstanding elements that they would have. Now, you could still keep some of these lights, and maybe even if you had 6 hanging lights, not the ones that were there because we know they didn't match. Those we figured could be used somewhere else within the building. But you could maybe put in 6 just to get the feel of the lights. And when I cost them out, I think they're about $250 a piece or something like that. And they're good size, so it would give you the look that you're after to keep the historic schoolhouse look.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody in the waiting room, Hannah, that would care to speak on this before we vote?
Just to flash up a picture to show you what she's talking about. When you're coming down Center Street and you see the building, you see when the lights are on and you're having your meetings, the people would see. So that would, again, make you feel like, but they're new lights. They're not old,
Right, we can come back to that.
insulated.
We can, the lights, we can revisit that. And I don't disagree entirely with, I want to take care of the window issue at this point, and we can revisit the lights. Yep. Mr. Clinton, you have on the windows?
Hear me all right from here?
Yeah, come on up, sir, sit down. And just state your name for the people listening, please.
Oh, I just want to thank Pauline and the Historical Society for moving the project of the town's new office ahead. I think that's one of the things that helped to get the vote passed for the money to build the new town office, which for the last 20 years I've lived in Pownell has been on the agenda of the town to get done. So I want to thank the Historical Society and Pauline for the role they played in that. And I want to thank you all for the role you have played in a very difficult situation. I think it's one thing if you want to restore your 48 Woody for display. It's a totally different ballgame if you plan to use it as a daily driver. And there are compromises that need to be made and difficult decisions that are often made in taking historic buildings and turning them into modern use versus just keeping them as a display museum. And I want to thank the board for moving this project ahead. And this is a really historic moment for the town that this is going to come to fruition. And it's something that everybody in Pownell should be proud of, and something we can celebrate when we get everything in place and done. And thank you all for doing that. You're part of it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
At the risk of sounding like I'm jumping on the bandwagon, I agree with everything Walter just said. I mean, this was an amazing proposition years ago, and we are now years later getting ready to move this schoolhouse. I don't know who else in the room is excited about this, but I am very excited about it.
I think we all
It's
are.
a long time coming, and I'm really, really happy to see it coming to fruition.
I have a motion on the floor and a second for moving forward with the option one of the windows, the Marvin windows that are going to look exactly like the existing windows that are in the building on the north side, excuse me, on the north side, the big tall schoolhouse windows.
I think
All those-
we had a motion and a second already, right?
Right, that's what I said. Yeah, any more discussion?
Fred Miller has a question. He's in the chat though.
Is it a question on the windows, Fred?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, please unmute.
Go ahead and unmute yourself then. Yes, you can unmute.
Things confusing the way it works.
Okay, my question is, the price difference between option one and option three. I think, am I correct that option one is like 14 grand and option three is 4?
Yes.
So we have a $10,000 difference. How long would it take if option three was put into play? How long would it take for the condensation to be a problem and the extra maintenance to equal that $10,000? How many years? Would it be years, months? How long?
I don't know if there's an answer to that question, Fred. That's certainly a variable.
What I'm getting at is if
Yeah, no, I
the
understand.
consideration is the maintenance and upkeep. If the option is to spend $10,000 more to avoid that, when, it might take, who knows, 10 years, 20 years, we don't know how long, to actually, if you went with the $4,000 option.
Well, I think there's in my opinion, Fred, we can certainly talk back and forth about this.
Yeah.
I think there's a significant difference in energy efficiency on option one versus option three. Because those windows that are in that building, it takes up a significant wall space on that one particular wall. And this is just me speaking. It's not my opinion. The fact of the matter is those 5, I think it's 5, right, Eric? Those 5 windows on that side that are in question, it is a significant amount of wall space on that one particular wall. Now, I used to be able to tell you the formula and all that stuff, but I've been out of it for way too long to figure that out.
Well, quick question on that. Also, I think to play off of that a little bit. One is I don't think it's a $10,000 difference. I think it's less than that because that does not consider what it takes to fix the windows, right? Or is that such an insignificant amount that we don't really consider it? That I don't know. So it could be $9,000 difference, $8,000 difference, not 10. But a 10 is it is less than that difference. But then on the other side, and to ask the question, if we were to go with option 3, which is the cheaper option, and then decided within the first year that's really not a good option, with some more data behind it, then how much more would it cost to make that change? Or is it going to be more expensive to make the change after we've already decided to go with option 3?
Oh, I think from my standpoint, when I was doing contracting, Bob, to answer your question, and I think Eric can solidify this, to change those windows after the fact is a significantly, the cost of the windows, but to come in and change those windows after their siding and everything else is already on the building, that's going to be a significantly larger number than just to change those windows now and then side to them.
Side and interior.
Right.
A lot of extension jam differences.
Right, it'll be, that could be a fairly significant amount of money.
Plus the existing windows, there's probably 7 or 8 that have broken pane, so we'll, you know.
Right, all that has to be repaired, repainted.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not figured into that $4,000,
No.
Yep.
so.
I think we've done our due diligence on this. Go ahead, Eric.
The only other thing is, with those Marvin, it does have a significant lead time on them. I want to put that out there. I don't know if it's.
What kind of warranties are on the 25-year, 18?
Yeah, 18, I think they're 18 or 20, so.
Okay.
Is it now?
Oh,
Just so everybody's informed.
no, I mean, the warranty.
Oh, I'll have to check on that. I think these are the elevates. I think that's what I don't have it with me right now. I don't know if you have the paperwork. But we did.
I'm dealing with Marvin on a job that I did years ago, and there's a window that's, and they're out of warranty, but they're coming to fix it anyway.
Yeah.
Just to say, I don't know if that would happen here, but just my own personal experience with Marvin right now, it's windows that I installed quite a long time ago, and I have an appointment actually with them, with their rep coming Friday to look at a window, and they're out of warranty. They're gonna come fix it. It's that easy. So they're a reputable company.
Yeah, no, I know they've been.
I know, Jamie, So I think we've done our due diligence as a board to listen to comments, and I think we can, we have a motion, we have a second on the floor. We can go around, and if it fails, we can move to another motion. At this time, I'm going to call for a vote. All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. So we'll go with the Marvins. I think one of the things that we should, before we move on to the budget part of it, one thing that we may want to revisit a little bit is the lights. If we can get Stan to give us some numbers or an input on using some of the lights as Joyce has shown us.
Yeah.
Maybe,
Get a price on it.
that's right. Maybe not the exact one or whatever. Maybe we can get the exact one, Joyce. I'm not sure, but.
They're out there.
Okay, sure. So if you'd be kind enough to forward that information that you have on the lights to Tara.
Yeah, I can look it up for you, but.
Well, if you just get it to Tara, then we can get it to Stan, the electrician, and we can go from there. We know exactly, we're getting exactly what you're looking for.
Especially since you have like specific ones in mind that you've already looked at.
Yeah, exactly.
They're pretty common looking, yeah.
You
So if
just
you
want
can-
the ones that are hanging, right?
Yeah.
Like a hanging globe.
And we can certainly revisit that part of it and see what it would cost to add those in and bring that, because that's something that we can do after the move, and it is anyway after the move and when it's here.
Something that even if we can't get them right away.
Right.
We can put the boxes in,
Right,
then we can add them at a later date.
exactly.
And also, I would just like to say with the windows, if they save one of the windows, Eric, you could make that into an art piece and it can be hung inside of the building. I've seen that. I actually have one in my bathroom that in the middle, glass was put in a mirror, and on the outside is still all the original glass, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So you could also do something like that for
I
them.
actually have a couple of those from the Peckham house when I did the windows down there, so.
They're
from Bert and
beautiful.
Carol, no,
They're
I
awesome to
have.
put on the wall.
I actually have 3 of them. That's a great idea. And I think we should move forward with that idea, actually.
Actually, yeah.
Hang on to it.
Yeah.
There you go.
There
We
you
can put
go.
them on the south side and they won't, that's right.
Yeah.
No, I think it's a
We're
great
trying
idea.
to help you as much as possible, but also keep it efficient.
So,
Eric,
But just on the lights, I mean, we could put the recessed lights like we talked about in there. And we
Right.
also have those lights.
exactly.
Another switch. Maybe even the ones that are there, if saying to look at the wiring to see.
Maybe he can use those existing lights and rebuild them. Probably not,
I
but
don't know. He doesn't.
No, I mean, all that's left of the ones that are in there that I saw was like 2 or 3 globes,
That's all.
and they don't match.
Right, those are the ones that were in there. They're only
Right,
three.
and the wiring, of course, there's nothing to have to go through rewiring and all that. You're better off just getting modern.
Getting new that looks old.
That's not being true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as much as I'd love to see those go up, they,
Right.
you know, but you want it to look,
Cohesive.
Plus they're not placed where you want them to. They're-
probably
they're
not.
kind of
And they took
straight
one
lines.
down for a fan, and so it's,
Right.
yeah.
yeah.
But you
Okay.
gotta be careful with this tin steel.
What's next there?
we're good. All of our project discussion and decisions are done, right? Do you have anything else,
No,
Eric? So now we're into the budget part of it. We're good.
okay, so, just so everybody listening online is aware, in the document archive on our town website, you can find all of the stuff that we're talking about. The drawings are there, the budget spreadsheet that we're looking at right now is also there.
You're a week early.
Okay.
Better than being late.
Early, actually, I think she's thinking of tomorrow's meeting.
I don't think she's here for the DRB because Olden sent me a message too.
Okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's the way the month fell. Okay, so phase 1, the town hall project. This is all of the money that we started with sort of before the schoolhouse even came into play. Phase 1 should be thought of as this building and everything it took to get into this building, the moving costs, the furnishings, all of that kind of stuff, all went into phase 1.
The engineering right to it.
Yes, yeah, right from the start, from the down payment, the engineering, the permitting, all of it. So currently, that is at about, well, it is $958,611.39.
That's our actual cost.
Those are our
So
actual
could
costs.
you just tell people what the estimated cost was?
So the estimated costs, at the beginning of the project, and some of these estimated costs were 2 years old, some were plugged in, say, a year ago, some were not estimated ever or even in the budget. So the estimated projected costs were $857,330.25. And the actual cost, I'll say again, was $958,611.39.
39 cents.
Or 39 cents, sorry.
It's been a long day for you. I
It has been a
know.
very long day
I
today.
know.
And I'm really stressed out about this meeting. So.
It's okay. You're doing a great job.
So if you look at the next spreadsheet, I don't need to go through every number, do I?
No.
No.
Okay.
So
They can
just,
do it online.
just so that without anybody having to do the math in their head or punch it in a calculator, like I just did, the difference is 101, 281, 14 in overage, of $101,281.14.
Because of the way that our.
So there's two things that made up a significant part of that overage. Because I'd like to do this in 2 phases if you don't mind, unless you have a,
No, it's.
okay. one of the differences was, the foundation price was $16,400 more. There's three things actually, sorry. And then some other small stuff. Foundation was $16,400. The building materials above and beyond what came from Preferred Builders was a difference of $10,300. And the construction costs and change orders, which were not estimated in the original 857,000, was 61 and change, so $62,000. So there's basically three things that were the 101 overage, which were basically uncontrollable costs. Foundation price, the building materials just took a jump on us because of the nature of the beast, and the work done in addition to the original contracts was $62,000. So that's 62, 72, that's 80, almost $89,000 of the 101 was things that we had no control over, basically. And we can come back to that if someone has questions, but just so that everyone knows, let's,
Jamie pointed out the difference between the funds. So there you have a fund spreadsheet in front of you, and then you have the phase one. The difference is, this is the phase one money was planned to be used for phase one.
Correct.
It wasn't enough.
Right.
So that's
No.
why
And I knew
the
we were talking
numbers
about
don't match up.
using the ARPA money. and all that
Right.
stuff.
So you're not gonna get a match between what funds were available and then the phase
I
one.
just wanted to bring it up because I'm sure there's people out there that
Yes.
remember those numbers, that's all.
well, yeah, when we get there, we'll,
Yeah. So phase two projected costs, these are all estimated costs. We have started spending some of the money, but most of these are estimated of what the total cost will be. And the total project cost for moving the school and finishing the entire project out is estimated to be $260,330. $260,330.
Thank you.
Any questions, concerns about that, Eric?
You just have to add the tent for the new window.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm gonna say,
Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. So the 260,330, you can add 9,100 for that.
be 269, 430.
Any
So,
questions? You think we should-
let's, I think we should open, before we get into the funds portion of this, let's open up public comment on the phase one portion of the project, the $958,000, what we've expended and where we sit and where we're at right now. So if anyone has any questions on that, I'd like to field those questions at this time. Any public comment? We'll try to limit it to 3 minutes if we can. It may not be possible, but we'll try. Anybody with their hand up, Hannah? Okay, how about the phase two portion of it? The estimated cost, and I think you said that this will all be posted on our website?
It's in the document archive. So the same place that you go to see select board minutes or any of our agendas, you can access this information. Nobody's raising their hand.
Nobody has any questions on the phase two portion of the projected cost?
Anybody in the room?
Anybody, yeah, I should have asked anybody in the room first, I'm sorry. Pauline?
Who is moving the building?
Mr. Connors,
No.
No.
no,
Nope.
that changed that.
Yep. Eric, do you,
It's,
Gold, is it gold?
gold flock, crane riggers. I believe they're out of Selkirk, New York.
Wow.
I don't know what happened with Mr. Connors, but we weren't able to.
I do know. I had left a phone message after I talked with you, Tara, to find out why he hadn't called back. And it's simply because he's totally snowed.
Okay.
He has 2 huge jobs and he wouldn't be able, it sounds like, get here till fall. And so the sum here for $15,000 to move the building, is that accurate?
Yes. It is.
That's a very good deal. if
Very
that's
good price.
accurate.
Yes.
So how's he doing it?
With a crane.
With a crane? He's lifting the whole thing?
Yeah, he has a couple of 110-ton cranes. And he's only estimating that to probably 25 to 30 ton, the way it sits right now, so.
Okay.
And that schoolhouse move, I should also,
2 steel beams running lengthwise underneath.
Right.
He's gonna lift it up.
and it actually includes, the utility companies and all of that too. That's all in one line.
And $15,000 utility companies?
Yeah, for opening the roadway and all that.
Yeah.
The whole access.
That's really a good deal, if that's true. If that's accurate, because before they were talking about 3,000 just to switch the electric lines. So, okay.
There, I will say, in the schoolhouse prep, there is, because we have done some of that work for them.
Yeah.
Prep work, that the line item right before there.
Yeah, the 26.
So it would have been more than 15 if he did all the bracing and all that stuff that he recommended us do.
That's a good point, Eric. Thank you.
Right.
And that is a great point. In that schoolhouse move budget, estimated cost in that $26,000 is part of that move, Pauline. So I think it probably brings it more apples to apples of what Mike Connors was gonna charge because they have some time in extra bracing or doing it differently. Sorry, I have to have my glasses to read, but I can't see you, so I apologize. So I think it's probably more apples to apples, and I know what you're getting at. I know you're questioning why it's so much cheaper. But by the time we figure in the prep that they did for Gould,
Right.
It's probably, and it may even be a little bit more.
We cut the beam pockets in the concrete and did all the extra bracing, so all he has to do is come and
Slide the steel in and rig it up.
Go ahead, Tara, sorry.
I was actually raising my hand because Jim Close, I think it's Jim Close. Jim has his hand up.
Okay.
Hi, Jim Costas, North Mason Hill Road. First of all, just listening to Paulina there. I just want to thank you guys for really moving forward with this whole project. And I know Tara, you're doing an excellent job. I mean, I'm sure it was passed down from the past executive assistant that was doing an excellent job also to see if this project could move forward. So yes, you guys have put in more than enough time to really make sure that this project, the initial project, was completed, and it may cost a little bit more. It's been many, many, many years. And I just think that the people are behind you on this. There may be a few that are saying that it may cost a little bit too much and things like that, but I think a majority of the town is just saying, it's been a long time, and I think it's something that's going to be really, really, really nice for the town. So I thank you all very much, Historical Society, Paulina, and you guys, and Tara. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. I do want to point out on this estimated cost, the concrete figure of 29,000. If we didn't do away with those sidewalks and stuff that we had talked about,
That actually includes the sidewalks currently.
All of those sidewalks down there it does? The originals?
And that's the mill, right?
Oh, okay. Then I'm speaking out of turn.
So that would be actually less than.
So it should be a little bit less. Okay, I like less.
We're hoping.
We're hoping, fingers crossed.
I like less. Fingers crossed. Okay, so I was speaking out of turn. Sorry, I should have asked you guys. My fault. That's what you get for assuming something. Any other questions on the estimated cost and budget portion for phase two from anyone? Okay, let's move on.
Okay, so on your funds spreadsheet, you'll see phase one was sort of anything we had to cover this building and anything we used before we started using ARPA. So you can see those figures in the total is $946,140.76. In phase two, you have the municipal office funds available as of July 1 for fiscal year 23 of 50,000. ARPA money that we currently have, we're going to use just under 185,000 of that. I have the historical society contribution on this part of the table because that was before I spoke with Joyce, and maybe we can talk about that after I finish going through the spreadsheet. So the total projected costs are at currently $1,218,941.39. The total available funds that we have currently for second round ARPA or any other funds, $1,205,388,039, which leaves us with $13,553 that will need to likely come from the second round of ARPA.
Which comes when?
August, between August and September.
So we should be fine.
Yeah, yes.
So I did a little bit of figuring here on this. Our proposal and estimated cost on the initial, when we went to the voters initially, was $857 and change. The total project cost is 1.2 million.
400,000. Around 400,000.
So, yeah, so it's between a 35 and 40% increase in the total cost of the project completed. These, and some of it's still estimated, but I think we're really pretty confident in our estimates right now because these estimates that we have right now are pretty solid. It's not a whim. It's a pretty solid estimate. And I can say that with confidence. So from start of project to basically end of project, because the end of the project is in sight. The end of the, right? I mean, I don't think I'm the only one. I think everyone sitting in the room will tell me that and agree with me. And I think everybody that's watching will agree with that. The end of the project is in sight. But from beginning until the end of the project, that increase in cost is certainly in line with the increase in the cost of doing business over the same exact time frame, no matter if you were buying a car or whatever whatever project you were involved in. The cost of your cost of business for anyone who has their own, those costs are in line with the cost of doing business at those numbers.
At today's.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it is an increase and it's a significant increase. But there again, I firmly believe and can stand behind it and lay my head down on my pillow tonight, knowing that we're in line with just the increase in costs over the number of years we've been involved in this project.
Materials alone, the way they jump.
It's just everything is just, that cost is not out of line. The increase, it's not out of line. I wish it wasn't there. I wish it was a negative 30% or whatever, or even if it was flat rated, but it's just not, it wasn't possible. And,
It's a real number.
these actually are 100% real numbers. Exactly, Jamie. These are real numbers.
Jim has his hand up.
It took us a while to get there, but we certainly got there. Jim?
First of all, I gotta just say thank you because it is a site that's really gonna look nice. Tara, could you just recap the 185? What is that amount? I think,
Oh, the ARPA?
yes,
Is that what you're referring to? So we got, I think it was 509,000 in the first round. Darcy Pruden they earmarked 325,000 of that first round for the new pump station.
Yep.
So the one, just under 185 is what's remaining from the ARPA first
Okay.
round.
okay. Which is super. I mean, I think everyone should just kind of take a deep breath and just say, you know, thank you very much to the government for the contribution to our town hall. We could all have wished, I mean, I think I've wished many times that money would come from heaven just to make this happen. I do have to ask one question, unrelated, well, it's related to the building fund, but just, and I don't expect an answer tonight. Tara, this is between you and me, and you can get back to me with an email, but I just want to just make sure we all understand that there were funds that were applied in the budget, this past voting budget, in the amount of 102,573 that were coming from undesignated funds. I'm not sure. There was also the woodland that was going to be used for future town items. So I just want to make sure those funds that were coming from undesignated or designated funds, unfortunately, were used to offset the taxes. So just review that again. But I just want to make sure that our taxes doesn't change because ARPA is coming in and helping. Okay.
I am aware of an oversight. There was an oversight where those funds were not moved to expenditures or something like that. And I will get you a better detailed answer.
Okay, that's fine.
Through email, but I do know what you're talking about.
Thank you very much.
That's a good thing.
Good luck, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have their hand up? Hannah? Anyone in the room care to comment?
Is that on the budget?
Hmm?
Oh, I don't think it's done. Well, maybe it's part of the budget. I think we're talking about the 25,000.
Can we talk about the 25,000?
If we don't have any more, if there's no one else in the general public that wants to talk about it, no one on the board that wants to talk about this budget, or no one in the room, then we're certainly gonna move off the budget and we're gonna move to something else and we won't bring it back up. Perfect.
I love it. Oh dear, we can old lady move.
Not like my mother.
Ooh. Okay, first of all, this has been a really nice meeting and we've communicated. And, you know, I've said it again and again and again and again, and I'll keep saying it till I die. And I want it on my tombstone. We gotta put unity back into community. And the only way we can do that is another C word, and that's communication. And throughout all of this, we have not been communicating quite up to par, both sides, all of us, everybody. You know, so now we've really taken a giant step. So congratulations to us, okay? We did it. So let's keep it going. All right. Yeah. But I did have a list of things that, you know, the Historical Society was respectfully requesting. Some of these we touched on. Eric has convinced me that we are going to keep the tin ceiling. We're going to keep the oak floors. The slate roof is going to stay. We lost the windows, but we're going to have something similar. The schoolhouse style lighting is going to be there, maybe. I guess we didn't say. I know.
Joyce, I'll be honest with you on that.
Yes, please don't be dishonest with me.
I'm not, I'm a black and white person, okay?
I'll be honest with you.
No,
Has he been dishonest with me all
there's two
night?
sides to me. There's a black side and a white side, okay? And I mean, that's how I am. There's no gray area.
Okay.
I'm leaning towards adding some, original style lighting into the building, okay? I think your presentation, your photos, Pauline, I think between the two of you, you've convinced me to add that in. If it's not a huge amount of money, and I don't think it's gonna be huge, but especially in the scope of a $1.2 million project, let's face it. So basically, I'm leaning towards, my vote would be to lean towards adding those type of lighting.
Good, thank you, Mike.
Can I also come up? There's one other thing we need to talk about.
So,
Chair rail and wainscoting.
I was just getting to that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I was gonna say, no, you
Stay right up here, Pauline.
You might have something else to say. I'm gonna say, now that we got him in a good mood and he's open to this and he's being honest with us. Just pulling your chain. There were two other things. One thing was, the slate blackboard, and I know that you were saved those. And so if we can incorporate them in the room, I still have visions. I have visions of a piece of the blackboard or something there where you write your meetings and all that. And so when you start the Zoom meetings, it zeroes in and maybe, it says the date and it's like, it just brings a little nostalgia back. So everybody wants that little feel of school.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so, I'm loving it. All right, I'm on a roll. Watch out now.
Keep going.
Okay, so the tin ceilings we got, the oak floors we got, and of course the slate roof, I guess, is still there. Okay, cool. And so we lost a little bit of the windows, but the slate blackboards, and here comes the wainscoting and the chair rail. That would pull it together as a schoolhouse.
And we have
Are you
lots
still in a
of
good mood?
Keep going.
Well, I mean, that's, y'all lived down south for a while. You all got to see the pictures of our wainscoting and our, okay. And that was the feel. The color was not the feel, but the two things was the feel. That with the lights, and see, we had some fans in there too, but with the lights. So when you come down the street, you'll see the lights hanging when you have a meeting. I think that would restore the feel. So that's the only other thing I had on my list.
Just wainscoting.
Wainscoting and chair rail.
I'm not gonna disagree.
Oh, God, love you.
Is there
Okay.
a big cost difference as far as
But
hanging it?
I can look into it, but I don't think there's a significant, no.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay.
I think you're absolutely correct. Joyce and Pauline both. I think there was a lack of communication. I won't say it was miscommunication so much.
No.
But there was a lack of communication and I know some people in the general public have said there's been miscommunication. I wasn't saying you. I think there was a lack of communication on certain things all the way through. And hence this meeting, that's why we called for this. So this was well before the last go around of what happened. And I'm not gonna rehash that. So I think we as a board wanted that communication to be
Restored.
and restored, no, for sure. But I also think that for budgetary purposes and how much things were and where we stood, what our plans were, moving forward with all of your things that you just brought up. That's why we called this meeting, so that we could get everything out in the open. We don't have a hidden agenda. We want to see the project through.
We all do. Sure.
At this point, like I said before, there's no turning back. Now we just have to,
Right.
now we just have to keep
Prize.
moving forward
Yep.
and see the light at the end of the tunnel. And go that route. I don't disagree with anything you have there. And I think that we can certainly look into the wainscoting and the chair rail, and I think the rest of it, is already there, other than the lights, and I don't think that's gonna be a huge
Right.
hurdle. I don't think that wainscoting and the chair rail is gonna be a huge hurdle. I really liked your idea of the chalkboards. I think that was a great, idea. Because it is that nostalgia. I think Angie's idea of taking the windows and maybe using them on that south side as false windows, whatever you want to call them, you know, I think that's a really good idea. Because it still keeps that, original feel to, you know, to a certain extent.
To that point, you might even consider bringing them in here. Maybe not all five, but four. And the reason I'm saying that is because you may want blank wall there. Again, it depends on how Selectboard intends to use that room, whether you want to show films there or whatever. I do have another suggestion about the tin ceiling. Before anything is really done in there, the drywall installed or whatever, you may want to consider spraying the ceiling. It could use paint, and it's in fairly good condition, but it's, you know,
It needs
it's
some
yellowed.
attention.
And without anything in there would be a perfect time to spray paint it.
It's definitely aged,
So,
but aged pretty well.
Yes, definitely, definitely.
I think what I'd like to do, I'd like to make a proposal, I guess, so to speak, to the board. Because we do have an active historical society, who's actively involved in this building. I'd like to make a proposal to the board that when we are at a decorating quote unquote phase of the building itself, that we involve the historical society, chalkboard location, whatever. I just, you guys have spent a lot of time on this. You've put a lot of effort into it. You know how that schoolhouse should look much better than I do. I mean, I have my vision, but I haven't researched it out.
We didn't go to school there.
I went to school at Oak Hill. My first 2 years were at Oak Hill, okay, so.
He didn't go to
I
school
didn't go to
that.
school there.
No, my first 2 years were at Oak Hill. I can say that, and there's not a lot of people left who can say that, but I know we did. But in all honesty, I think, you know, and I'd like to make that proposal to you as long as the board is in agreement with that. And Tara, you know, when we get to that phase, which is the last phase, right? We're ready to move in, then you guys come in and help us out.
With that said, the $25,000 contribution, I understand that your perception is that you would do it once the building is moved, and it would be for the history center. Can you explain that to me a little bit?
Well, I sent you the wording of that, yes,
the letter.
yeah. And basically it was, in appreciation of, once moved and incorporated into the town hall structure, the basement of the schoolhouse will be used as a Pownell History Center by the Pownell Historical Society at their pleasure. In appreciation for the use of the Pownell History Center, the Pownell Historical Society has pledged $25,000 towards its construction. And that was towards the construction of the Pownell History Center, that room, okay?
So from my perspective, as a voter, when I voted for it, I was under the impression that it would go towards the construction of the building. Now being here, I was also under that impression. I'm not sure what the board's thoughts are. But when you talk about construction of a room, the foundation that's there is part of construction, and that was over 25,000. So I'm just trying to,
Well, the thing is.
Figure out-
Yeah, no, I understand where you're coming
You know
from,
what I
Sarah,
mean?
but the thing is that we know that the town had to put that foundation in for the schoolhouse. So our room underneath of it, it's just space, okay? So that's it. We didn't want the town to have to, or the taxpayers to have to pay for, say, the sheetrock in that room, or the ceilings in that room, or the light in that room. We're not saying $25,000 goes to file cabinets or things that we need to bring in.
Okay.
A copier, You know,
Okay.
we are setting up a history center. We're
Right.
trying to encourage people to come to town. And I think you had a couple visitors this past weekend. Doing genealogy, they got a place to go now, rather than calling me up and I meet them on the street corner with information about their family.
Right.
So we're developing a history center, and that is to benefit not only the town, but people from all over the world. I mean, we've got people from England and stuff, that roots that have come through here. So that said, the $25,000 was towards finishing up that room. And we say towards because we didn't know what it was going to cost to finish that room.
Of course.
Okay? But at that time, we had a pretty good cost estimate that 25,000 would probably cover all that would take to finish that room, if not more.
The construction piece and not furniture and things like that.
Not furniture, no, we got our own furniture.
Right.
We got our own
It's technically
furniture.
For construction.
It's for construction, it's the sheetrock, it's the flooring, it's the lighting, it's
With the heating and the.
and the heating, yeah, and when you turn it down 45 degrees, does that mean that we're gonna be 45 degrees downstairs?
No, you'll have a separate thermostat.
I'm only teasing,
And that room has to be fire coated and the
Right.
ceiling has to
You
be. done
gotta
all
do
of
what you
that.
gotta do,
Right.
no matter who's down there.
Right.
Just like you have to do what you gotta do with the remaining of the basement. You could have left that room just as a storage.
Correct.
So we're giving you $25,000 to turn it into a room so that we can use. So
Okay.
it's sheetrock, it's ceiling, it's lighting.
So I
Oh,
guess.
was there wasn't anything else?
I guess
Oh, yeah, the electric, yeah, but there's gotta be electric down there anyway, so yeah, whatever, yeah.
So I guess my only question is when are you hoping when is that plan for that to happen?
What, to get the 25,000? Once that schoolhouse is there and we know that we got basement to do, once that schoolhouse is there, and I assume Eric's gonna be doing the work, and Eric says, I'm ready to start working on that basement. We know you need the money to buy the material. We're not gonna hold it off and say, no, we wanna wait until the light over there works on dim, not that. We're not gonna do that. We'll give you the 25,000 when the schoolhouse is sitting there. We got a roof over our heads.
Yeah. You feel you got skin in the game once the building's moved.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, we're very anxious,
Yeah.
extremely anxious to get in there because, we got so much stuff and we boxed it all up last year because we thought it was going to be slam dunk. I don't know what we thought, but here we are. But anyway.
I think we all thought that,
I know.
to be honest with you, Joyce, but unfortunately, things just,
Here we are, yeah.
things just took a lot
We're
longer.
very excited and, matter of fact, when I went away to Florida this past year, I transferred the 25,000 into the checking account and gave everything to our secretary because I didn't want anything to hold us up, while I was down there as treasurer. So I set it all up. So it's sitting there waiting. We're not using it.
Okay.
But we're
I
not
just
getting
wanted to make
interest
sure
on
we
it.
were all on the
Yeah,
same page
yeah,
with
yeah,
that.
yeah. So,
Because I wasn't sure if it
Right.
meant furnishings and.
no.
Set up the room or if
But hey, if you don't use
construction,
the
like
whole
you said.
25 and you want to kick some back, we'll get some furniture. Turn into that. So, but we would like to kind of, meet with you and, or whoever's going to do it and kind of sit down and say, this is what we envision in the room because this is how we want, we want our desk to be here or whatever, we want an outlet here or what, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just a
Have
little bit.
Perspective sketch or layout.
Yes, we
of
do.
How you want the
We-
room.
we-
That's the
yeah.
easiest thing to give to
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
So they can plan for the outlets.
Right, so that we can just, all be on the same page and not go, oh, you
Right.
put the light right there. That's not gonna be whatever, yeah. So, working together, communicating, I think we can pull this off pretty easily. It's just four walls. And the front, obviously, and the door. And a walkway.
It's a nice space.
So are you comfortable? Your questions have been answered? Okay. Are you, as the Historical Society, are you comfortable with where we're at?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 historical society members. Does everybody feel comfortable? Yeah, I think this is good. I think that we can, I think that we can accomplish this. And I think, again, we all should be proud.
We're going to
of all of
accomplish
our
it.
accomplishments and all our contributions, because we contribute, not only.
There's a lot of mutual hard work.
Yes,
Yes,
oh,
definitely.
definitely.
So Hannah, do we have any more hands up? So before we adjourn,
Oh, here.
And we do have already have an email chain going.
Yes.
Historical.
I
Yes.
can, I
Yes.
can add her
We should
into
use
it.
that, I don't know, I guess.
Yeah.
And would you prefer that contact for the Historical Society remain you? So I can add you into that email chain?
Sure, that's no
Okay.
problem.
we good?
I think I'm good.
Before we adjourn, I would like to just reiterate, what I had said earlier. This project has been, and what Mr. Klinger had said when he came up, and Jim, Kosis, this project's been a long time coming. We've waited, the town itself has waited for a tremendously long time. There's been some noses bent in years past over projects that were proposed and not gone through and so on and so forth. I would like personally to thank everyone who's had a hand in this project, from start to finish, because it doesn't matter which phase of the project you've been involved in as a party. This project certainly wouldn't have happened if you weren't involved in it, whoever you are. I think we've done an absolutely tremendous job in keeping our local businesses involved in the project. And I think there's one thing that probably the most important thing to be said for that is that it's their project. That's how I look at it. It's their, as if they were doing the project for themselves, because they are. Whether it's
Right.
whether it's our, that's right. And it goes back to your statement, Joyce, about community and having our community businesses involved as much as we have, has been a tremendous asset. Because number one, I think they gave us, whoever they were, and I could name them, but I'm gonna miss somebody, and I don't wanna miss anybody, so I'm not gonna name anybody. But whoever they were that have been involved in this project, they gave us, first off, they gave us their best effort. And they gave us probably the best deal that we could have gotten on whatever phase of the project they were involved in. Because it is their project as much as it is our project. And I think that's been just a huge part of this whole entire process. And for that, I'd like to thank everyone who's been involved. We still have some work ahead of us for sure by getting the schoolhouse over here, and, but you know, we're 3 weeks away from the move. So, you know, like I said, I'd like to thank everyone involved in this project, from start to finish. And with that, I'm done.
Imagine that.
The only thing I want to add to that is just to make sure that Mike gets the recognition too, because he's the one doing the recognizing. Mike's involvement in this has been tremendous, as well as many others. And I don't want to itemize, but I also want to remind everybody of the hurdles. I mean, 2 years of a COVID shutdown, we had a main contractor pull out of the project completely. I mean, there's just been hurdle after hurdle after hurdle. It's great to be here.
Yeah. I hope this meeting has given clarity to people that have a lot of questions out there in the public, so.
Well, I think if there's any questions, we can certainly answer them, or if they haven't been answered, I'm not sure what we missed.
Right.
And I think, Tara, I'd like to thank you for this presentation. You worked extremely hard on this. I know it's been taking a lot of your time, and it was incredibly accurate, incredibly detailed. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that we didn't have a whole lot of questions involved in the whole process tonight. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Angie,
Aye.
Jamie,
Aye.
Bob,
Aye.
Mike, aye. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Historical Society.
Thank you.
Thank you.